Chapter 1. Who am I? This story is a prologue to a modern princess. A woman drove frantically to the streets, clutching her chest, trying to breathe. She dialed the emergency hotline. Hello, what is your emergency? I'm driving my car, I can't breathe. Pull over and tell me where you are. Just then a crash was heard. Sirens rang out. The sound of hospital doors opening. What do you got? 25-year-old female. She was barely breathing when we found her. She called the emergency hotline, saying she couldn't breathe before the crash. It's an allergic reaction. EpiPen. Not knowing what happened or having any memories of her former self. A doctor came into her room and said, I see you're finally up, Miss Laura. You forgot your EpiPen. You remember what you ate this time? Your husband's secretary said he left on a business trip, but he said that he should be back after you get discharge. Mrs. Stone? After she didn't respond, the doctor called his superior. Another doctor put a flashlight to her eyes. Do you know your name? She didn't respond. A day later a man came by. Hello Laura, do you remember me? Who are you? He then turned to the doctor looking worried. There was bound to be some brain damage. She didn't have oxygen for more than a minute. The doctor said, will her memories come back? It depends on how extensive the damage to her brain was. Laura spent the next few weeks in rehab. Her parents and siblings came by. Laura. And you are? Where are your parents? I stepped back when I looked at the mirror. This is me. I now had brown hair and brown eyes. Wait, what did I look like before? My head hurts. I can't remember anything. People are constantly bothering me. I don't even know who they are. Laura, Morgan said will wrap up his business as soon as possible. He'll take care of you. I'm married. The feeling grew even more stronger when I walked inside the house alone with the secretary. Madam, Mr. Stone will be back in a few days, so please bear with it. He said. Who are you? I'm Mr. Stone's secretary. A male secretary, that's rare. On top of the stairs there was a large photo of me and my so-called husband. I spent a few days looking through the house. I had a floor-to-ceiling wardrobe. And priceless jewelry worth tens of thousands of dollars. I'm rich. The secretary came a few days later to check up on me. I asked, can you give me my phone? He then handed it to me with a smile. Looking through my social media, it seems like I was very happy. And from a spoiled child to a spoiled wife. I looked through the text messages, and this Morgan fella seems like such a nice guy. Out the hundreds of text messages I sent him, he only responded to a handful of them. Things got more intriguing when I opened up my family text messages. All they ever sent was either about Morgan and how he's taking care of me. From princess to queen nice. Still alone the next day. I decided to leave. None of the maids noticed me, they didn't even notice me leaving. I walked a few blocks from the house when a handsome man drove by his car and called my name. Laura, where are you going? You know me. He is handsome. Of course I know, you were neighbors. How could I forget someone as gorgeous as you? What is your name? What? He asked, confused. I had an accident. I'm having trouble remembering things. You have amnesia? Yes, that's what the doctor said. Well, I'm David. You have a picture of me in your contacts. I then scrolled through my contacts. There you are. You want me to help you jog your memory? I'm off work right now. Yeah, sure, that's fine, I guess. I then went inside his car. He took me to a mountain cafe overlooking the sea. You come here every day, just to relax from your marriage with Morgan. He said as he handed me an iced tea. Can I ask you something? Sure. What's Morgan like? Ruthless. Not someone who you want to cross paths with. Why? I don't know if I should remind you this, but he didn't want to marry you. He just did it to please his dying mother. You two didn't even have a wedding, you just got registered. Oh, there are some videos on my phone. He seems pretty nice. Where is he now? Philip said he was on a business trip. Are you sure? He asked seriously. What do you mean? I mean, he's probably with Celine right now. Who is Celine? He then showed me his phone social media. It was Morgan with a woman. Morgan's first love, and the third person, Or was the third person you're in marriage? You caught them on a date just recently. I don't know if you went through with it, but you said you were filing for divorce. Joy. I said as I sipped my iced tea. What was I like? As a person. Frail, delicate, has to be taken care of. You get hospitalized at least once or twice a year. I don't think I wanted to go home. Want to go back to that house? I looked at him and he said, if you ask him about Celine, he's just probably going to deny it. If you stay with me, you can find out the truth without having him find out. I'm the last person he would ever think of looking on where to find you. Why is that? Because he barely knows me. Then how do you know me? I told you, we're neighbors. On the way to his house, I scrolled through his text messages and chat on my phone. He was single and lived alone in a house that was as big as Morgan's. David let me stay in the guest room. His house was more comfortable than Morgan's. Unbeknownst to Laura, David watched her sleep the whole night. Chapter 2. Where is my wife? I was abroad when I learned that my wife had amnesia due to allergic reaction which deprived her of oxygen for over a minute. Hearing that, I felt relieved. Now she has forgotten about the divorce. When she brought out the divorce, at first I thought that she was just joking. Then she angrily slammed the divorce agreement on my desk. When I asked her for the reason, she slammed the door and moved out of the house. I asked her why she asked for a divorce all of a sudden. Then she said that she was tired. I tried to change her mind by seducing her. I poured my heart out as we made love. However, the next morning she still wanted a divorce. I don't know what to do. Things have gotten rocky since she had a miscarriage. I told her to stop working, fearing for her health. Laura has multiple allergies, which can cause her to have a severe reaction called anaphylaxis. Her food needs to be strictly monitored for any and all allergens. One time she ate a cake not knowing it contained peanuts of all things. I asked the grocery store for the specifics. It turned out the food stall that was handing out the samples didn't label the cakes and Laura forgot her EpiPen. So she had to rush to the hospital. I planned to sue the idiot that didn't do their job properly. I brought her a teddy bear and roses. If I get this right, I might get her to take back the divorce. If she forgot about it, it will be even better. My eyes narrowed when I saw the police car parked in front of my gates. As I went inside, the housekeeper and my secretary looked at me nervously and said, "Sir, the madam is missing." I dropped the roses and yelled, "How could she go missing? You said she has amnesia. Did her parents come over?" My secretary said, "No, sir. Mr. Cross had a heart attack while recovering from the bypass surgery after hearing that the madam went missing. He is now having heart surgery. She's not with them." I turned to the police officer and said, "Officer, please do whatever it takes to find my wife." Meanwhile, over the mountains. "Do I have a property here? How can we both be neighbors? This is miles away from Morgan's house." "No, I owe a condo unit in the city right next door to you. This is one of my houses." "Oh, what are you?" "I'm a CEO of a large corporation," David said as he took a drink. "Oh, really? Can I get a job? You know I'm divorced. I need a way to support myself." "Laura, you hadn't worked in 3 years. What? Why?" she asked in surprise. "Because Morgan told you to." "I don't know the specifics, but it was after he went to Celine's birthday party." "What does Morgan do?" "He is also a CEO. Are you two business partners or rivals?" Laura asked while narrowing her eyes. "Rivals," David said with a smile. "So you hiding me because you want to mess with Morgan?" "More or less. I spent a few days in the mountains with David. One day when I was bored, he took me to the city to go shopping, and he brought me milk tea. That's when I saw Morgan. He punched David without reason. I tried to pull the man, when he suddenly said, "You can't drink that." I suddenly couldn't breathe. Then I felt a sharp pain from my lower abdomen, then I saw blood running down my leg. Morgan carried me before I fainted. When I woke up, I was in the hospital again. I felt a small discomfort coming from my stomach. The doctor came in and said that I had a miscarriage. What the hell? I didn't even know I was pregnant. When the door swung open, the doctor went to talk to Morgan. He started to cry. He came into my room with tears in eyes. I'm sorry, Laura. I should have been here, he said as he hugged me while crying. While I was lying in bed, I found out from the doctor's conversation. Then I heard the doctor say, we barely managed to save the child when she was brought from the accident. It was already weak, and barely managed to cling on. I'm sorry. He then told Morgan. This was your wife's second miscarriage. The risk of her having another one is extremely high. You might want to look into having another alternative method to mitigate the risk. If you want to have a child, you could look into getting a surrogate. Like this story, comment, and subscribe.